Hey everybody, Gerda Muller here, clinical psychologist and private practice success business coach and mentor. And welcome to today's live stream where I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways to make your business stand out. So why this topic? Why today? Well, this morning I actually went in and I had to attend an interview. So when I say I went into the business area of my local area at the shopping centers. There's like upstairs offices, and I had to do an interview for a local business awards. Okay, so you might know in your own local area, if you belong to your local chamber of commerce, that they generally have annual business awards, right? That gets awarded, and we are a finalist in one of the 2 practices, I won't say which one, is a finalist in the local business awards. And some awards judging, of course, works different to others. In this one, you had to send in your written application, and now when you are a finalist, you have to go and do an actual interview. How awesome is that? They really take their awards seriously, right? So I went in this morning, my interview was at 11 o'clock, and I must tell you, I really surprised myself in that I was not nervous, not at all, right? So I was actually super excited to have this opportunity to go and talk to people about my practice and about my business and about the impact that we have on our local community. So it was really exciting in terms of preparation, because I know some people always ask me, do you prepare for it? I actually reread our application, what we submitted, and I also read through the written feedback that we got. So what happened is they looked at our application, and then when they invite you to let you know you're a finalist, you need to come for the interview. They also give you initial written feedback on your business based on your application, right? And then today I went in and I had a half an hour interview with one of the judges, which was such a great conversation to have. So what I want to share with you guys today is the 3 things that I picked up on that is going to be really important for any business in order to stand out. And these are the things that came up during discussion, that was a focus, that was asked about, and stuff that was raised as us doing really well, right? Because if this is criteria that's important to these awards as a business, I would like to believe, and I do believe, that these are really important things for us to look at as practice owners, right? Because if you truly want to elevate your practice as not a hobby, not as a charity, but as a business, we need to use business criteria in order to elevate it, right? It's why I'm here. I'm a business coach for allied health professionals and mental health professionals, because we don't get taught this thing at university, right? And if you don't have a business course or degree behind you, which I don't really think you need, I don't have one, you still need to do some type of work on getting those skills, right? Whether it's an online program or online course or working with a business coach and mentor. So I want to share with you those 3 things. Now, for those especially that are watching the replay, maybe what you want to do is pause it. Now, I see there's a few people here live with me. Please say hi and hello. Facebook doesn't always tell me who has joined. You know, even if you just say a little wave emoji in the comment section, then I can see who is here. And even for you guys that's live, take just a couple of seconds and go, okay, based on my knowledge of business, what do I think is 3 really important business criteria that I may be doing really well in my practice, or that I potentially need to work on? It's like, generally, you know what it is. And a lot of times it's those stuff that we avoid, either because we don't know how to do it, because we don't have the skills, or we are uncomfortable doing it, right? Because it requires us to step out of our comfort zone. So really have a think, what do you think is those 3 things? Because it's always interesting to see where your level of thinking is at, because you might write 3 things down and go, yeah, had it, got it, I'm on the right track. Or maybe you are completely off track, right? It's all about becoming self-aware so that you can start to go, okay, how do I need to start thinking in order to step into that business mindset, into the profitable private practice mindset, into that CEO mindset, right? And not only being an inner CEO, but also an external CEO through my behaviors and the stuff that I focus on and look at within my practice. All right, so I'm going to share those 3 things with you. The first one was team development strategies, okay? And I actually have our written feedback form here, and this is something that we do really well. According to them, I think we always have room for improvement, but that's how I think. And they wrote here and they said, where is it? The sentence. Okay, and I'm reading verbatim from our feedback. One of the best team development processes of all the applications submitted. Well done. And when I read that the first time, I went, wow, really? Really? One of the best team development processes. I mean, I think we're pretty good, but I'm always going, how can we do this better? Because we know we need team. We know how important culture is, right? And I mean, we still have team turnover. So my first question was, okay, well, if our team development processes are so amazing compared to other small businesses, because this is a small business category, then why do we still have team transition or turnover? But I had to remind myself that is normal. And I want you to remind yourself of that. I think for a lot of us, particularly psychologists and allied health professionals as business owners, we expect ourselves to be such amazing managers, leaders, employers, business owners that our team are never going to want to leave. And then when they do, we take it so personally. It's like it's a rejection, or we take it as a personal failure, and we beat ourselves up in terms of I didn't do enough, I should have been there more for them, I should have supported them more. It's all these I should haves, right? I have had that in my own mind. I speak to practice owners every day that beat themselves up when their people leave. And we really need to accept that is part of being a business, right? The only constant object in your practice is you. Hey, Susie, welcome. She says 100%. I'm so glad you agree. You are the only constant object. Everybody else is going to come and go. Some are going to come and go very short term. Others might stay there for years, but it's not a failure on your part if they decide to leave, right? A lot of times it's just because that's what's right for them at that point in time. What you need to focus on is to have a really great onboarding process. Obviously, you need to recruit and hire well. You want to recruit and hire people that is a great cultural fit, that fits in with the values that you have for your practice, that is aligned. There needs to be an alignment in terms of what is our ethos, what is that aligned impact, the vision that we're working towards, and then you need to onboard them really well, and then you need to support them, right? Ongoingly. And there's various things that you can do as part of that process. So it's really great for me as the practice owner to hear that compared to other applicants and also other small business owners, that was something that we were doing really, really well. And I'm sure that a lot of you are probably doing a better job than you think you are doing. And then there's some of us that can probably do a better job. And for me personally, when it comes to team related stuff, I'm always thinking, what else? And how can we do these things better, right? It's not about adding another 20 things, because let's face it, our clinicians don't want 120,000 things from us. It's about consistently testing and finding out what is it that they need right now at this stage of development, their own personal development, but also business development. Because as your practice grows and as it scales, you're going to require different things from your team, and therefore you need to support them differently during those various instances. So doing the same thing just because you've always done it isn't necessarily doing the right thing. So you also need to have those times where you can stand back and look and go, okay, so we know we've got pretty awesome team development processes. We don't want to muck around with it too much, but how do we make it more contextual to where this person is at and to where the business is at right now? And that needs to be a consistent focus. So that was the first thing, team development strategies. And really, to me, it says culture, right? All right, the second thing was innovation. All right, innovation. If you are applying for any grant, they're gonna ask, not grant, business award, they're gonna ask you about innovation, but even grants, right? It's all about innovation. If you can show that you are doing something innovative, guess what? You are then adding to your local community, but also to your national community and to your industry. So it's really important for us as practice owners to consistently ask ourselves, how are we innovating? How have we been innovating over the last 6 months? Ask yourself that question. If you had to speak to somebody today, if you had to have a chat with me over coffee, and I said, so how have you innovated at your practice of the last 6 to 12 months? What would that be? Would you have innovated? Or would it just have been business as normal? Okay. It is so important as a business to keep on innovating. A lack of innovation is why big, like multi-million-dollar companies go under when newer companies overtake them, because newer companies are innovating, right? They come up with new things, and these guys are just business as normal, but guess what? That company that consistently innovates is going to surpass them, right? So then you only have yourself to blame. You cannot rest on your laurels. So if you haven't been innovating in your practice, ask yourself, what can I do? What do I want to do? What would I love to do at my practice over the next 6 to 12 months that's going to be innovative? Whether that is innovative in terms of strategies, techniques, new evidence-based therapies that you might be starting at your practice. Is it innovative in terms of your customer service, that you're doing something that nobody else is doing, right? Is it innovative in terms of this is the first time this type of service is presented in your local area? It can occur at various levels. What is important is for you to innovate. It is so, so important. And you know what, guys, that is the only way to uplift our profession, right? Is to innovate. And I know particularly in our profession where there's such still, unfortunately, fear-based thinking, still that like wanting to stay in our little box of our 4 consulting walls. And very often what happens is when business owners or practice owners and even clinicians want to innovate, and a clinician might want to innovate in a new strategy, technique they're using, or teaching stuff in a new way, and when other people don't like it, they just start throwing stones and judgments and criticism and all of that stuff. And it's really easy to go, oh my God, I must be doing something wrong. I'll just get back into my little box. So it takes a lot of courage to innovate, especially in our industry, okay? But I still want to encourage you to start innovating. Even if you start innovating at what might be considered small scale, ask yourself this question on a regular basis, especially when you're doing your 90-day planning, but especially when you're now starting to do your 12-month planning for your new calendar year. What do I want to innovate in my practice? Something that we can be really proud of, something that's going to have an impact on the community that we serve, right? And then go out and do it, all right? Innovation, very, very important. And we got, very positive feedback with the virtual reality therapy that we are currently introducing and starting to use at our private practice. So it's like a software program that comes from overseas. Our clinicians had to be trained in it. And it's just an amazing new type of innovation for dealing with phobias, anxiety, and a range of other disorders. So number 2, innovation. Then number 3, numbers, all right? So important to have numbers in your head, because if you go for this type of interview, they're going to ask you about numbers. So important. If you want to apply for grants in your practice as well, you need to know the numbers, right? Just imagine if you've ever watched Shark Tank, all right, they ask about the numbers, because business is all about numbers. And I can clearly remember, because I love Shark Tank, right? When the person doing the pitching doesn't know the numbers, there's like hell to play. The judges are just very critical when they can't give them percentages, turnovers, expected projections, etc., etc. So you need to know the numbers in your practice. And they were actually very impressed with the fact that we run regular numbers, that we look at benchmarking figures in our practice. And hey, Robin, how are you? And also very importantly, that we have cash flow projections in our practice. Because again, a lot of small businesses get so stuck into just the daily operational mode that they don't look at bigger picture financial numbers perspective, right? And we know that in order for us to keep our doors open, in order for us to know to make enough money to even reinvest back into the business, all allowing us to help more people in better ways, what do we need to do? We need to make money, and we can only do that when we know what the numbers are. When we know what our average session fee is, what our expenses are going to be, how many team members are going to be on board, how many is going to be on leave, and therefore not bringing in income in, what bills do we have coming up, how long do we wait for our third-party payers. So we've got like a complete Excel spreadsheet with all of this stuff on, so we know exactly what income to expect, what expenses to expect for every month of the year. Okay, really, really important to have that. So those are the three things. So I strongly encourage you, if you want to elevate, if you want to up level your private practice to that next level, where you are able to really compete, should you want to, with other businesses in business awards, or just compete with yourself, right? In order to consistently look at, how can I do this better? How can I build a better practice? How can I build a better business? Because I know and I believe in my head and my heart and my soul that having a profitable practice helps me help more people in better ways, because it means that I've got money to invest back into the practice. Okay, and we do that in various shapes and sizes. There's so many things that you can invest money back into your practice, and I'm constantly doing that at the Site Professionals. So most certainly you need to look at those things. Number one, to recap, was a great team development strategy that of course helps you support your team, build great team culture. Number two was innovation. Innovate. And number three was numbers, whether that is benchmarking, KPIs, but also very importantly, cash flow projections. That's going to save your life if you do cash flow projections. I can't tell you how it helps to manage the not knowing of how much money precisely is going to come in and how much you need to spend, right? That's going out. And it really gives clarity in what's going to be happening. All right. My first business coach ever that I started working with in 2012. I started working with Nathan. And Nathan always used to say, Gerda, a cash flow projection is amazing because it tells you that a Mack truck is coming that's going to hit you, basically going to crash, right? It tells you it's coming so you can prepare, so you can get out of the way, or you can ensure that that crash is not as bad as it would have been if you didn't know it's coming, right? So it is amazing what that document does in terms of help you plan in your practice. So those are the three things that you need to do. Now I'm going to throw in a fourth thing for you, just because I'm generous. And that is, if you want to truly up level and truly innovate your private practice, you need to come and join me at Elevate 2020. So that is happening July next year. I will put in the comment box below the Elevate website. There's a 2-day conference specifically for private practice owners, as well as your practice managers and your practice principals. There's also a very special third day, which is a VIP mastermind for those of you that want to come VIP mastermind with me in the Frangipani suite at the Emporium Hotel. That is on the Friday. So get your tickets. If you book your tickets before, when did we say? What's the deadline? Was it the 25th, I think, of October? it's somewhere there. I'll put it in the comments as well. If you book by that time, you will get free access to my upcoming training, which is Business Models in Private Practice, where I'm going to talk through and share with you the risks associated with the 4 main business models that we find in private practice. So you can get that for free if you book your Elevate 2020 tickets at elevate2020.com.au. I would love to see you at what is going to be the most amazing, mind-blowingly event of the practice industry in 2020. I'm going to leave it at that. Please, if you're watching the replay, leave me your thoughts, your comments, anything that you want to share with me. Let me know how you're going with innovating, looking at the numbers and looking after your team. And if you've got any questions, feel free to post those there and I'll come back and check those out. Thank you so much for those joining me live. Thank you for those watching the replay. And as always, all you need to do is do what? You need to say yes to your very own ultimate level 5 private practice. And you can do that by coming to Elevate. Speak to you soon. Bye.